Yo, what's good, Jets Nation? This is Jets Media, bringing you guys the next episode on the series I created on my channel when I break down each player on the New York Jets. If you guys have not heard, I created a sports podcast on a new YouTube channel called Loyal Media Sports Podcast, and it's also on Apple and Spotify. I've actually interviewed Jets wide receiver Vincent Smith, so if you guys are interested in the first two episodes, I'll leave the description down below. And with that being said, let's jump right into Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder was definitely the best wide receiver on the Jets last year, and he put up really good numbers for a slot receiver. Adam Gase loves slot receivers, and I think Sam Darnold's favorite target last year was Jamison Crowder. We didn't really have a number one guy. Robbie Anderson is not that number one receiver, but Jamison Crowder is not a number one receiver as either, but he was that number one target in terms of who's getting the ball the most. Jamison Crowder loves lining up in the slot and just creating separation over the middle. And whenever Darnold was in duress, because obviously the offensive line sucked last year, so whenever the pressure was in Sam's face, it always felt like Jamison Crowder found out a way to just break open and get a little space where Darnold can just throw on the run or step up in the pocket and flick it to Jamison Crowder for like a 5-7 yard gain. He was always reliable, and Jamison Crowder definitely was a great signing by Mike Maccagnan. We got to give Maccagnan some credit. I'm not a Maccagnan fan. I'm just saying he was the one that signed Jamison Crowder to a 3-year deal. So definitely love Jamison Crowder, love his game, and I'm excited to see what he can do in his second year in Gase's system. Going right into Jamison Crowder's 2019 stats, these are really good stats. 78 receptions, 833 yards, and 6 touchdowns. These are really good numbers, like for a slot receiver. If he can replicate these numbers in 2020, I'm completely satisfied. Because now that we have two brand new receivers on the outside in Brashad Perriman and Denzel Mims, I think that those two guys are going to be better than Robbie Anderson and Demaryius Thomas. That's who we had last year. So I'm really excited to see this offense open up with more quality wide receivers on the outside with James Crowder in the slot. I think there's going to be people doubling Denzel sometimes when he gets cooking, or Brashad if he gets cooking. So it's going to really let Crowder do his thing and get open down the middle. And with the return of Chris Herndon, it's going to open up the middle of the field as well. So going into my projected 2020 stats, I think he's going to have very similar stats. 80 receptions, 844 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like I said, if he can replicate what he did last year or slightly improve, I'm totally okay with that. A slot receiver is not supposed to put up like 100 receptions and 1,000 yards, 850 yards and 80 receptions is really good. So I'm hoping he can replicate what he did and he can do anything close, because that means this Jets offense is clicking, and that means he's getting more comfortable with Sam Darnold, and that means Sam Darnold's giving him the ball and throwing touchdowns. So going into his strengths and weaknesses I came up for Jamison Crowder, his route running, he's a great slot receiver. Chemistry with Sam Darnold, he's reliable and he's shifty. So his route running, his route tree is not a traditional route tree for wide receiver. Obviously, he's in the slot, so he's running different routes. He's running up the middle, and I love that the routes that Adam Gase gives him. He has this one route that he always did. It was the most famous route that Jamison Crowder did. He would kind of just run into the middle of the zone, and then he would field the linebacker and give him a little juke one way and then cut. And he would get like a quick 2-yard separation, and Darnold would always find him that would be always a quick first down. Jamison Crowder would do a quick juke, and you would get first down, and I would love that. That was my favorite type of Jamison Crowder, when he just goes into the zone, he feels it, and it's kind of like an option route. So his route running, definitely great. He's a great slot receiver. I just have that as a strength because slot receivers are very valuable in this NFL, and especially Adam Gase, because his system needs a guy that can get open in the slot. So he's a great slot receiver. His chemistry with Sam Darnold, it felt like Sam Darnold was always relying on Jamison Crowder to be open over the middle when he was in trouble. He's reliable. When, like I said, Darnold's in trouble, Jamison Crowder finds a way to get open or make a play for him. Like that touchdown against the Ravens that Sam Darnold had when he was rolling to his right and threw a dime to Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder somehow was on the side, back of the end zone, and catches it. And the play before that, Jamison Crowder was wide open and dropped it. And then he follows it up with a play like that. So he's definitely reliable. He does not get in his head. He pushes through mentally. And I think he's going to have a really good future with this Jets offense. And he's also shifty. Whenever he gets the ball, he does have some moves where he can make some people miss and get a couple extra yards after the catch, and he's definitely a guy that's going to be on this Jets offense for quite some time. We signed him to a 3-year deal last year, so this is going to be a second year, and then we have another year with him. So he's going to be in this Jets offense for the next couple years. Some weaknesses I have for him is his size, his speed, and his aging. Obviously, size, not big of the weakness. Slot receivers don't need to be big. You're supposed to be small and shifty. So the only reason why I have that is because he's a wide receiver, so his size is not a strength, so it's a weakness, not an issue at all. His speed, it's interesting because his route running, and he's very shifty, but he doesn't have breakaway speed. So I just put that as a weakness because that's definitely a quality you would rather have in a slot receiver, somebody that can take the ball 70 yards to the house and break away. Not a big issue, though, because I'd rather have a guy like Jamison that can just create separation with his speed, and his footwork is really good as well. And he's aging. He's not going to get any faster. He's not going to get any better, Jamison. I feel like he's right now at the peak of his career. So the only way his numbers are going to improve is if the system improves and the O-line improves and the quarterback play improves. That's how he's going to get more involved in the offense. I think he's not really going to be able to improve his game. I feel like he's at the peak. He's at the age of the wide receivers where that's where you're going to be at your best potential physically. So if he can keep evolving mentally, I think that he can take his game to the next level as well. So yeah, those are my strengths and weaknesses for Jamison Crowder. And just to finish off this video, I'll bring you guys what I expect from Jamison in 2020 and beyond. So you guys saw my 2020 stats for him, my projected 2020 stats. If he can do that, that is a great thing for this Jets offense. And I do expect Joe Douglas to go out in 2021 and draft another slot receiver to eventually replace Jamison Crowder. So then I think in the end of Jamison Crowder's contract year, which will be 2021 season, we'll have a guy mentoring behind him. But there is a guy on the roster who I do see some potential in replacing Jamison Crowder in the long term. That's Braxton Berrios. He is probably the backup slot receiver. He's really quick. He has that feel for the game, and I think that he could potentially develop and take over Jamison Crowder's spot when Crowder gets a little too old. Do I want Crowder on this team beyond his contract? Probably not, just because he'll be 30 by then, and I'm not too sure if he can stay healthy because he was battling injury problems in Washington, but luckily he was not injured at all in 2019, so that will not be an issue in 2020, I'm hoping, but you never know. NFL, there's a lot of injuries. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Jamison Crowder. Leave a comment down below what you guys expect from Jamison Crowder in 2020. Does he have potential to make the Pro Bowl? Does he have potential to become one of the best slot receivers in the league? I think it all comes down to Adam Gase's play calling and the offensive line, because if that really opens up, then Darnold's going to be slinging the rock down the field, and he's just going to get more receptions from Jamison Crowder and more touchdowns from Jamison Crowder. That's what I think it comes down to, the quarterback play and the play calling from Adam Gase. That does it for this video. Leave a comment down below what you guys expect from Jamison, like I said, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.